Alright, what is up, everyone? Hello. How's everyone doing today? It is a Friday. A Friday premiere, 2 weeks in a row. We've had a Friday premiere, and actually we're going to have 3 weeks in a row where there's a Friday premiere. We'll talk about that in a little bit. How is everyone today? Hopefully you're doing well. I'm doing alright. This is Phil on the stream. Today is Friday, March 11th, 2016, and welcome to a premiere of a new game. You know, for a long time here, since I've been doing YouTube, really we haven't had Friday premieres. It's actually few and far between. When you get a Friday premiere day, but it's happening. That's right, last week we had the premiere of The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess HD. Today we've got the premiere of a new episodic release, a game that usually has not been released episodically. And almost a reboot in a lot of ways. At least in the way that they are branding it and the way that they are naming it. Hitman. Hitman being kind of restarted here by Square Enix. Yes, it is Square Enix, not Enix. I thought it was Enix until E3 last year when they said Square Enix about 400 times during their press conference, and now I know how to pronounce it. So, we will do this today. Just so you know, FYI, the way that this is working here is it is not a full-fledged release. It is episodic. It is going to be coming out over the course of the year, supposedly. Every month or so, there'll be maybe another episode, from what I'm going to understand. Could be, every 2 months. I don't know. There's been no promises. And I think, really, the way that this game turns out may actually make or break the way that games are released in the future. It seems like, in this day and age, there's a lot of cases where these games are being released for full price, by the way. And then they add content later. Okay? And it's funny because, previously, we didn't have these digital distribution things, right? It was all about going to the store, you buy the game, and you put it into your console, and you play it. Period. Like, that was it. Well, now, ladies and gents, it's different. Now we've got, everything's digital, right? It's a digital age. Everyone's expected to have the top-of-the-line internet where they can get games digitally. And because of this now, we've got all these releases that come out. You pay the full price. The game is basically half done, right? And you get kind of some features and not others that you would expect in a full release, with the promise that these features will be added later. We had a major game last year in the name of Splatoon from Nintendo that did this. And it turned out well for Nintendo, I think, because a lot of people may criticize the game strongly for not having enough content at launch in May of 2015, but by the time that all the content had been released for the game around the end of the summer, it had a pretty significantly large chunk of stuff, including a single-player mode, several multiplayer modes, new rotating maps, tons of new weapons, game types, right? Fast forward to just last month, we had the release of Street Fighter V, a game that, previously in all of its releases has always had a significant amount of offline single-player content paired with online multiplayer content, and the game pretty much launched with almost none of that single-player content, with the promise that Capcom will be episodically kind of releasing it over the course of the year, starting supposedly this month with the first DLC character and some challenge modes, yada yada yada. Hitman. Boy, has this game had an interesting history. So, when it was announced this game was going to be released, at first it was actually kind of said it was going to be episodic. And everyone was like, okay, so it's going to be kind of like digital distribution. How's this going to work? Do you buy it in episodes? Do you buy the whole game? And at first it was actually said, no, you buy it in episodes. It'll be like episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, and you buy it just like a Telltale Games episodic game, right? We periodically buy the next episode every couple of months. You have the option to do a season pass as well. But then it was changed. A couple months ago, there was an announcement from Square Enix saying, no, the game will be a full-fledged $60 release. So everyone's like, okay, well, I guess they changed their mind, and then they delayed the game. The game was actually supposed to come out in late 2015, but it was delayed here till early 2016. So everyone's like, all right, fair enough. And then, next thing you know, last month it was announced yet again, it's going back to the episodic format. But you have a choice if you want to buy it episodically or if you want to buy the whole game as a $60 purchase. So it's pretty confusing, right? I wouldn't blame you if you haven't been paying attention to this game and you're joining my stream today and you're confused. You're not the only one. Tons of people have been confused about this game because they've basically flip-flopped on what it was going to be for quite some time now. So that being said, here's how it works. It is an episodic game, okay? It is. The way that it works is today, on release day, well, if you could call it release day, it's really the premiere day, right, of the season. The prologue, as well as episode 1, the first major contract in the game, have been released. So what does this mean? It means that we're going to probably have some kind of an introductory deal where it's kind of a reintroduction to Hitman. You'll see how the missions work. More than likely, there'll be multiple ways to complete each assassination. And, you know, after the prologue, which I'm assuming is probably going to be a couple hours long just to reintroduce all of these things, then you go into the real first mission of the game, and you're probably let loose to the wolves to figure out how you want to do it. Now, from what I'm going to understand, the game is way more open world and less linear than Hitman Absolution was. Now, for those of you who watch my stuff for a long time, you'll know that back in late 2012, I played Hitman Absolution, and I loved it. I thought that it was a cool combination of elements from recent games like the Batman Arkham series with things like, they had assassination vision, right? Which is basically was detective vision or whatever you want to call it. A bunch of games have employed that kind of thing since then. But it combined that with some cool character design, some cool world design, and unique missions where you could find multiple ways to assassinate your targets. Now, I really liked it. That was actually the very first Hitman game that I had ever played. So for me, I loved it. I thought it was something unique and different. A lot of people were very critical of the game. They were saying that it was too easy, that compared to the previous Hitman games, it was too linear. See, I had no frame of reference that I'd never played. The only other game that I had played in the series was years and years ago, like early 2000s. I had played one of the Hitman games on PC, and I don't even remember which one it was. But I'd only played a couple levels of it because it was kind of a freebie game that was tied in with when I bought a graphics card, so I played some of it. But, you know, I didn't have that exposure. I wasn't a longtime fan of the series, so I couldn't make those direct comparisons and say, well, this is better, but this is worse, and this is what they changed. I just played it at face value, and I really enjoyed Hitman Absolution. In addition, I think that it needed to be mentioned that Hitman Absolution did have difficulty adjustments. So if you wanted to turn off the assassination vision, for example, if you didn't want the hints and clues to figure out different ways to assassinate people, you could turn it all off. And it would actually make the game more difficult, like a jump in difficulty, which people seem to have wanted. I guess a lot of people just ignored the fact that that feature was even in the game. So I gotta kind of shrug and say, I don't know, I liked it. And, you know, I've been waiting, I've been wondering what happened to Hitman, because after that, after Hitman Absolution, there actually was one more thing of Hitman released. It was the Hitman Collection. It was in early 2013. It was actually, I believe, a combination of 3 different Hitman games remade in HD. I bought the collection, but I never played it because people had just seen Hitman Absolution. And they were like, well, you know, why did this come out so quickly after Hitman Absolution? I guess it was trying to cash in on the popularity of that game or whatever. And, I never got around to it. You know, over the years, I actually did put it into polls of, you know, would you like to see me play this or this or this? And it never won. Sometimes it got close, but never really won. And, you know, I'll be honest, a little disappointing because I did like Hitman Absolution. I probably would have liked to play through one of the more classic games. I just never got around to it. That's what happens, right? And quite honestly, it hasn't even really been a consideration of mine in a long time because if it's not the thing that's in the back of your mind, you know, the thing at the forefront of what's going on in gaming, it's hard to remember these things even exist. So I do still have the collection. It's over there. It's sitting in my game storage bin, unplayed as of right now. So here we are. And now this is going to be interesting. I'm curious because let's say, we play this today. It's really good. And, I've heard that it is more difficult, but at the same time, it's more open world, so there's a lot more freedom in what you want to do. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. We'll see. We'll see for ourselves as I play it today what it's like. But if this is successful, okay, let's say that it's really good. Okay, I really like it. And over the year, they released the new episodes, and I played the new episodes or whatever. This could be an interesting, quite interesting way for game developers to release games. Because they're offering this not only as a full purchase for $60, but they are also offering it episodically. So if you buy the first episode today for $15 instead of buying the whole game, and you play it and you don't like it, you could write it off and say, well, all right, it was $15. I played it. It wasn't my cup of tea. And you can move on and do other stuff. Typically, you can't do this in gaming. Typically, you have to spend full price, to buy the game and try it out. And you get burnt. What if you buy a full game for $60, you play it, don't like it, well, now you're burnt, right? Most you could do is bring it back, trade it in for like half value, if that, at a game store. So really, this could be an interesting development model for game developers to say, hey, every few months we'll release a new episode, and if you like it, great, and if not, stop buying it. But it could kind of bite them in the ass too, because what if everyone does play the first episode and says, don't really like it? Now they've only made $15 on those consumers versus if everyone ran out and bought it for $60, right? So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. I'm curious to see how this works out for Square Enix. And just imagine that. Just imagine, games being all games almost being episodic. It would give game developers more time to develop the games, but they'd be able to release the games, at least kind of the premiere or the first episode of the games earlier. I don't know. I'm on the fence about this. I see both pros and cons to this model. See, one thing that I have been very vocal about in the past is these episodic games, such as from Telltale Games, not having a steady release schedule. And right now, quite honestly, Hitman does not have a steady release schedule. We have no idea when episode 2 of Hitman is going to be coming out right now, nor do we know the time frame of the release of the other episodes. So, it could be very annoying where out of nowhere they'll just release an episode. You're like, well, I didn't know it was coming out. Now I don't have time to play it right now or whatever. Or vice versa, they could just take forever to put out the next episode. And those who bought the season pass will get burnt on that. Because, I paid $60, where's the rest of my game? So I could see, different things kind of that could go wrong, but I definitely see the advantages as well. So this is a cool experiment. We'll see how it goes. This is really, quite honestly, the only major game release, AAA style release that I've ever seen do something like this. So let's see how it goes, right? It's funny because game developers are trying new things these days and seem to be going with them. Just this week, Ubisoft released The Division, and apparently based off sales numbers, they're saying it's a huge success, and now they'll be looking for more of this kind of game, where it's based more around cooperative gameplay than narrative, apparently. Okay. More power to you. I don't necessarily like that style of game, I'm looking more for a combination of narrative and gameplay, rather than just gameplay, grinding gameplay. That's just my personal preference. We'll see where gaming goes. It's gone a lot of different directions in the time that I've done it for YouTube, right? Alright, so that's the deal. We're going to be doing around, on this stream, which we're going to start gameplay in a few minutes here, it's going to be around 3.5 hours of Hitman. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take me to beat this. We've got the prologue, and then we've got episode 1. I don't know. I mean, I could get through it quickly with no difficulty and beat it just on this stream, or it could be, drawn out. Maybe I'll just get through the prologue on this stream. If that's the case, what I'd like to do is gauge interest. If there's a lot of people interested and a lot of people on stream, and at the end of the stream, I'll kind of poll and I'll say, would you guys like to see me go ahead and play it more later tonight? I might do a second stream. Now, if I don't beat it, but there's not really a lot of people on stream, then maybe I'll just beat it tonight, but I won't live stream it. I don't know. I want to play it by ear, and I want to see how it goes. I want to be a lot more flexible in the way that I do stuff, rather than be concretely, I'm doing this or that, because that allows me to adjust on the fly and do different stuff, and I think that that actually is a better way to do things than to always be on a set schedule. So we'll see how this goes. Right now, there's a pretty decent amount of people on stream for me not even playing the game yet. So, you know, if people are interested by the end of this stream and I haven't beaten it yet, I'll ask you in the stream chat. Do you want to see more later tonight? Maybe I'll stream again. Okay? I'll tell you one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to actually stick something under my door because I got my window open. It makes my door, when there's like air pressure changing, the door jiggles. Hold on a second. I'm going to stick something under my door to stop distracting me. I'll use my hat. There we go. Now the door won't jiggle. It keeps making noise. Okay, so we're about to start in just a couple minutes here. I really don't have too much else to say. I'm going to very briefly go over the schedule for the next few days because I've kind of adjusted it a little bit more, and I think you're going to like what I have to offer, all right? So first of all, last night, if you didn't know, first of all, I played more Zelda. That's been uploaded to DSPGaming, and I made a reactions video to the new Captain America Civil War trailer that was released yesterday with a big surprise twist at the end. That video is up on the King of Hate vlogs if you haven't checked it out yet, and you're interested in Marvel Comics and the Marvel movies, you want to know my take on it, you're definitely going to want to check that video out, okay? Today, obviously, I'm playing Hitman all day, and my goal is to kind of beat this. I don't know if it's going to take me all day to beat it or not. I guess we'll find out, okay? Tomorrow is up in the air, depending on what happens with Hitman today. If I beat Hitman today, then tomorrow I'm going to do more Zelda Twilight Princess on stream. If I don't beat Hitman today, for whatever reason, then I'll be finishing it tomorrow, okay? There's no DSP Tries It tomorrow. I didn't have anything this week to do for DSP Tries It, so it gets a little bit of a break. I'm hoping that it'll return next weekend. Sunday, I'm going to be doing more Hearthstone. I've decided. I've gotten enough feedback from people. They really seem to have enjoyed that first stream of Hearthstone that I did this past week. And I've said, you know what? Since people really liked it, it was something different, I'd like to do it again. I'm going to do it on Sunday. It's going to be very stream interactive, just like the last stream was. I'll be talking with people in the stream chat. They'll be helping me build decks. I'm going to do more arena mode, which seemed to be the hit of that stream. And so that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be Sunday. Now, Sunday night, there's going to be two different things going on. Sunday night, I'll be releasing the weekend preview like always. That's going to explain how I'm covering all the new releases of next week, of which there's two big ones that I'm playing. But then I'm also going to be doing a reactions video to the WWE kind of semi-pay-per-view, even though it's not really a pay-per-view event, called Roadblock. For those of you who don't know, WrestleMania is right around the corner. This is kind of like the World Series or the Super Bowl for professional wrestling. That's going to be in April. But WWE have done a mini event in preparation for WrestleMania that's happening live this Saturday night, and I'm going to be watching that. And then I'm going to do a reactions video to that I'm going to put out on Sunday night. So, 2 vlogs Sunday night, the weekend preview and my reactions to the Roadblock event that's taking place Saturday night. And then Monday, I'll be returning to Street Fighter V. Okay? And I'll have a session of that. I don't know how that's going to go. It's kind of hit or miss when I play it. And Monday night, then, I'll be doing a mini review / impressions on Hitman, which we're playing today. So I'm going to give it, today and tomorrow to finish up Hitman, depending on how long it takes. And then Monday night, over on KO Gaming, which has been a little dead recently because I've been very, very busy with gameplay mostly, I'll be putting out my impressions and review of this first installment of this Hitman episodic game. Okay? So there you have it. That's the weekend for you. A lot of variety. Every day something different, whether it's Hitman or Zelda, Hearthstone, Street Fighter, vlogging, lots of stuff. And so I want to say thank you for checking out the stream. Thank you for your interest. I hope that you'll check out all the on-demand videos over the course of the weekend. Hope that the variety is good enough to please everyone, right? Everyone's looking for something different. Well, hopefully something that I'm doing this weekend will interest you. Keep in mind, next week we've got new releases such as UFC 2 and Pokken Tournament. So we'll be talking more about that as we get closer. In fact, Sunday night, when I do the weekend preview, it'll outline how I'm covering those games. Of course, I'll also be continuing on with Zelda this week. So, all right, there you have it. So I don't really have much else to talk about. I have 3 quick plugs. For anyone who watches my streams and you enjoy my content, you like my on-demand videos. People ask me all the time, Phil, what can we do to help support you so you can keep doing this? You give us all this free stuff every day. What can we do? Well, there's 3 different ways. Number 1, I have an Amazon Associates link in the description of all my live streams and videos. You can use that whenever you shop on Amazon.com. No lie, hundreds of people, I believe, have. So thank you for that. And it certainly isn't something that's crazy. It's not a huge amount of income or anything for me, but it does help, okay? Number 2, Patreon. Patreon.com/DarksidePhil. People who pledge to the Patreon, not only do you get personal perks such as text or verbal thank yous, but also getting your questions answered on my bi-monthly Q&A show, Ask the King, or even getting a private Q&A video made just for you, catered to your questions. Everyone who's gotten that top-level perk has loved it over the past year, let me tell you. In addition to that, you also contribute to a monthly goal. Right now, we've got 2 monthly goals that are going on. One is the Patron's Choice playthrough that's going to start in just a couple weeks. It looks like it's probably going to end up being Persona 3. And another one is people are now voting on a platforming marathon for the end of this month. And it's right now, it's kind of neck and neck between Crash Bandicoot 3 and Conker's Bad Fur Day HD concluding, because I did play some of that in December. So hopefully, you know, those events will go down without a hitch. We'll have a lot of fun this month because of Patreon. There's going to be a new goal coming out in the next week or 2. I'm still thinking in my head of what I want to do for a goal. I want to do something a little different this time because everything's either been a marathon or, you know, some kind of a gaming event. I'm trying to think of something else I could do that's maybe outside the box. We'll see. I'm still thinking in my head of what kind of stuff I could do. All right. But there will be another goal set up for this month. So if you pledge to Patreon, not only are you obviously going to get stuff for yourself, your personal perks or whatever, but you're helping me to continue do this full time, to be able to still do daily streams and on-demand videos, and to not say, well, unfortunately, I'm not making enough money to pay my bills, so I have to go out and get another job and basically cut back massively on what I do for YouTube if I can even continue to do YouTube, okay? And I'm going to be honest with everyone. A little real talk here. Finally got word back from my accountant today in regards to taxes, because when you're self-employed, taxes are a lot different than when you work for a company and they take your taxes out of your pay every month and they pay for your health insurance and all that. No, I do all that by myself, and I have to pay for my own health insurance, which is incredibly expensive, and all this stuff. But you don't want to know the specifics. The bottom line is, things are very tight right now. I just got the word back from my accountant about what taxes I'm going to owe for the next year, and I'm like, wow, that really sucks, considering the fact that I just had a massive issue for the second half of 2015 because of false copyright strikes against my channels that knocked my channels out of the Google search. And therefore, really, I didn't get any natural influx of viewers over the hardcore gaming season, when normally I get a giant spike of viewership because it's all the new games at the end of the year. I didn't get that in 2015 because of false copyright strikes, which is fucking bullshit. So basically, I missed out on a ton of income that I usually make, and that's the income that I use to pay my taxes, and now it didn't happen. And then, of course, I had my contract renegotiated at the end of the year, which didn't help, and now I'm making way less money again. And it's like, damn, like everything at once, right? It sucks. It absolutely sucks. So, quite honestly, if you've been considering being a patron, if you like this, maybe you're a newcomer. I know some people daily jump on and say, wow, this is new stuff. I never heard of Phil before, and I'm checking out his stuff daily. It looks really great. Let me put it to you this way. I'm obviously not looking for people to jump on and say, wow, I'm going to give Phil hundreds of dollars. It's ridiculous. I wouldn't even want anyone to do that. But $1. If you just watch my stuff daily and you gave $1 a month to Patreon, if 50% of the people who watch my stuff gave me $1 a month on Patreon, none of this would be a concern. I'd be fine. I'd be good to do and to pay off all my debts and not have to worry about this stuff. But I have to bring it up daily because that's not the situation. You know, the most successful people who use Patreon have tons of people giving a little. So check it out, patreon.com/DarkSidePhil, and please consider pledging, okay? And then last but not least, the third and final way that you can help, if you like these daily streams, etc., you can check out my girlfriend's business, which is a handmade glycerin soap and wax tart melt business. It is called The Black Current. You can find it at etsy.com/shop/The Black Current. She currently is in the launch of her new spring line of products, out of which I have selected, or helped her select, several scents, including one that's my personal favorite called Kentish Rain, that's very similar to, say, Irish Spring. But her stuff is way better than the soap you'd buy in the store. It's glycerin-based. It's not the nasty, heavy detergent bars that you buy in the store, which is, by the way, why they're so cheap when you buy them in the store, because they're actually not very good for your skin. This stuff's way better for you. Okay, so check it out at etsy.com/shop/The Black Current, spelled Currant. If you're checking out the stream chat right now, Junasaji just put a link to that in the stream chat. So I certainly hope that you will check it out. She's actually doing pretty good this month. We're only 10 days into the month, and I believe she's gotten a decent amount of orders. So people are liking this stuff. Everyone who's ordered from her has given her positive feedback. She's shipped hundreds of orders over the course of the year that the business has been open. People really like the stuff. It's not just for girls. Let me emphasize that. Even though women tend to like that kind of stuff, it's not just for girls. In fact, a lot of the viewers of both of our stuff on YouTube have tried it out and really enjoyed it. It's also a great gift idea, so check it out. And yes, that does benefit me because obviously that's her business, and if her business does well, that helps me pay the bills, right? Alrighty then. Alright, everyone. The time has come for us to start with Hitman, finally. Thank you for being here on stream, or if you're watching this on demand on YouTube. Let's see how the stream does. Like I said, if the stream's good and a lot of people are watching and people want me to continue later today, if I don't finish on this stream, we will continue later today. Alright? Thanks, everyone. And I think it's time to begin. Very nice. In fact, let's, at this momentous occasion, here we go. That was actually the wrong one. I wanted to press this one, I think. There we go. There you go. All right, everyone. Thank you, and let us begin.